everybody, this is Alchemist 2, and I'm back again with another series review. I just recently watched Chapter 1 of Genius, and it was just absolutely stunning. I had no idea that Einstein himself was married before he met Elsa, and of course I kind of knew that he was a little bit of a philanderer and he didn't really believe in monogamy. And it revealed that in this series, the first episode. And I thought that was fascinating. And what he said about monogamy bore some truth to it. And of course, in this day and age, a lot of that would be kind of frowned upon. And who knows, we might go back to a polygamous society if we do go into Armageddon, worst case scenario. But it would endorse the survivorship of humanity as a whole. Just saying. I mean, that's a big plus from polygamy. The downside is jealousy, rampant parts of it. This jumped from present day Germany when the National Socialist Party was starting to take over, and Einstein was giving a lecture on space and time and how light moves through nothingness, or space, or what they called the ether. And it was just absolutely sensational. I loved how they illustrated that, and his whole class, and how they were just hanging on his every word. And it was just, you know, it's one of those things. If I were able to go to Oxford, I'm not a mathematical minded person, but just to be around somebody who has that capacity for understanding numbers, I wish I had that kind of mind. I just, because it's the language of God. So it's one thing that I mean, music is close enough, but it's funny how I can understand music, yet I cannot really grasp the concept of mathematics. All I can, based on rhythm and the way certain sounds will resonate, and just the whole healing capacity thereof. And everything is vibration, so I'm not going to go into that though. He gets into string theory, or the very basics of string theory, later on in this very series, but we get to see him and his first lady love. Other than, well, we know about Betty. Betty's introduced in quite the provocative way. And their little romp. And of course, Elsa knows all about it. She knows all about that. And of course, I believe in the biography that was mentioned, if I'm not mistaken. I was trying to recall, because it's been such a long time ago since I actually read that biography, but it was just absolutely sensational. It was astronomically written, and I love the fact how Einstein, he I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but he was kind of a rebel. And what he said, and it's still true to this day, what he said about education as a whole, just memorizing things and reciting them per rote, doesn't really amount to a whole heck of a lot, or a hill of beans in this world. And that is, other than the establishment, not the establishment, the administration, that is the only thing wrong with education. And it's just another way for the man, God forgive me, another way for the man to put us in nice little compartments, thinking, oh, here you go, you can oil the machine and make the machine run better. Maybe that wasn't necessarily what you were designed to do, what your vocation is, what your true heart's desire would be. Maybe you were meant to go and solve world hunger, perhaps. But no, when you're put in school, any ideas of your creativity, no. it's like going to, even if you go to art school, and I talked to a person who can vouch for this, so I'm speaking on a good credibility here. She said, when you go into art school, you find your own style, but still, any kind of promise of pure creativity is, so they're still trying to mold you to what they want you to be. And they try to guide you into, well, maybe you can make money doing this, but I don't know if you can or not. There isn't really a market for it, so to speak. We don't know because we never really tried. There's no really big, and I'm in the arts. I'm in liberal arts, and that's part of the humanities. So there really isn't any said niche for us to go. But I do know that at some point in time, my ability will be forefront, paramount, and integral to helping people get on their feet. And what I really want to do is, at some point in time, I still want to be a producer. I'm never going to give up that dream, even if it never comes to pass. I want to see this happen more than anything in the world. That's all I have to say about that, and I'm sorry I got off track, but just what he said about education, I think was very provocative, and his political affiliation was very interesting. They're going to get into that in second episode. But it's just unbelievable, and there was one time, it's just so ironic, there was a little Hitler Youth who came up to him and he said, can I have your, Herr Einstein, can I have your autograph? And Einstein says, I seem to have forgotten or dropped my pen. And Rudolph looks at him and he says, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. And of course, there's a brown shirt that walks up to him and spits in his face. And I thought, I'm like, yeah, I don't have a gun. And me being half German myself, so yeah, I'm half German and Jewish, so it's, I can see it from both sides. I mean, I'm not a nationalist by any means, and neither was he. And he was just a man that belonged to the world. He didn't want anything to do with Germany, and I don't blame him. But his father kept saying, well, when did you become such a Zionist? And like, being a Zionist is a bad thing. Excuse me? But it was so funny. I just thought, there are some people who are Zionists to the point that it is a problem. I guess you would call me a practical Zionist. But it's just such a really good series. It just talks about the politics of the time and how some of these things are still very pertinent and pressing issues that we have to deal with in today's day and age. And I'm thinking, well, some things never change. And it's absolutely tremendous. And just seeing Einstein from his youth and realizing just how sensual of a being. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked by that. I'm thinking, of course. Why wouldn't he be? And it makes sense. It really does, to me at least. But it just, when he meets Minerva later on, his first wife, she was the only person who outscored him in physics and knew of cosmography, which was a new study at the time. And their whole belief about the eye was Aphrodite put the fire in the eye and gave men the ability to see. And then Albert said, well, if that's true, then perhaps we would be able to see at night. I thought, yeah, great rebuttal there, Einstein. But I mean, I can't help but love him. I feel like we're connected somehow. I think we would have been great friends had I been alive at that time. We would have gotten along swimmingly, I think. I think I would have just loved to have been in one of his classes. And I don't know how well I would have done, but physics is my first love, and it's something I do for a hobby. I don't understand it. I don't even get the whole concept of the actual algorithm. No, I don't understand any of that. I just understand very basic common sense physics. So it's I love it. It's just it's something I'm never gonna get. I'm never going to outgrow this. Blame my dad. But the show just makes me realize how I'm going to put myself on a pedestal here, but I have a lot in common with Albert because I was kind of a rebel going through school. I did fairly well in my classes. I scored pretty high. I got myself on the dean's list 2 times. I got myself on the honor roll 2 times. I got myself into a not philosophical, but what is it called? I'm not sure what you call it. I don't have the word for it right off the top of my tongue. When not not phil not what's the word for loving everybody? No, that's not it. I can't think of it. It's just a way to give back to the community. It's that kind of sorority slash fraternity, and I'm part of that. It's called Phi Theta Kappa. I'm a member of that. It's just kind of wondering where I belong. It's funny, but strange. I can really relate. I don't feel, I love America, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like I'm an American. I know that sounds kind of anti-patriotic or seditionist, but I've never really felt American. I don't know why. It's the weirdest thing. I enjoy this country. I enjoy everything. I enjoy all the benefits of it. I can't consider myself a blind patriot because I'm not. I'm liable to agree with a lot of the good points. But I will also agree with a lot of the bad points that other countries point out, and I'm not going to say, oh, wow, we're not the best country in the world, but yeah, we sure are a superpower, but we need to learn. I think that this is a good series for everybody to watch due to the fact that I think a lot of history is repeating itself. We can learn from that whole administration thing, education-wise. The whole idea, it didn't really go into Kristallnacht, which I was surprised that they thought, it just started with the brown shirts before they became the National Socialist Party. When they were gathering, they're starting to build up power. They shoot a random, it wasn't a random Jew, I mean, it was a Jew that Einstein actually, it was a friend of Einstein's, I do believe, that they just shot point blank, and I forget. They said it was his fault. I thought, what? It was Kristallnacht, though. Because, it's all... Of course, history says that it could have been that. I can see that point, too, being contested, and I'm thinking that's probably more accurate than Kristallnacht. Please don't flame me. I'm a World War II buff, and I wanna learn as much as I can. I'm always learning new things. I love the series, and I can't wait to see more. 2 thumbs way up. If you're like me and you love Einstein's work and just all the things that he inspired and the motivation he gives, and I just, as somebody who loves astrophysics, I cannot get enough of Albert. And not to mention, I'm going to say this, even when he was older, he was absolutely beautiful. I know this is probably sounding very weird, but coming from my standpoint, I am driven by a desire to find somebody intellectually minded. And the brain is the most erogenous zone in the body. And imagination is power, as Einstein once said. And I have lived in my mind. Well, I live in the world of reality too, but my imagination has been vivid ever since the day I was born. When I figured out how I could write and tell stories, then I thought, oh, I can make a career out of this maybe someday. I don't know, but I have tales that I want to tell and have told, and one day they'll become published, and I will make it happen. I've maybe animate them. Who knows? I mean, there's so many numbers of possibilities here. But anyway, that's all I got to say about Genius. And I may not. Let me be careful. Since I'm budgeting, I'm probably going to be. I'm not saying this is. This is most likely going to happen. So if you don't hear me talk about Genius from this point on, more than likely is because I have given up my television service and I'm budgeting, and I'm just giving up some stuff so I can live and survive and thrive. I'll more than likely be doing reviews of movies. I'll be doing book reviews and parodies and songs still. I'm working on some other things. At some point in time, I will be moving to North Carolina to be with my family because I have nothing here in Indiana. Of course, I have friends here. I will come back. I will visit, but this is not my home. So I am going to be on my way. And it's a little bit scary, but eventually I'm going to get to where I need to be. And until then, I'm going to keep all of you, my magicians, updated. I thank you for your support. I thank you for watching. And I will see you next time. Till next time. Live long, prosper. Ciao, tutti.